Miriam, this is Mount Gilboa, the place where King Saul and his sons fell. The king chosen by God? How could his crown end here, in battle with the Philistines? Arrows rained down, his sons were struck, and Saul, heartbroken, faced the end. This mountain tells a story of courage, sorrow, and a kingdom about to change forever. The sun rose slowly over Israel. In the distance, the blast of trumpets echoed across the hills. Soldiers hurried into their lines. Spears rattled. Shields gleamed in the light. Horses neighed and stamped as if they too felt the weight of the day. Every man knew a great battle was coming. At the front rode Jonathan, King Saul's brave son. His sword shone in the sunlight, and his courage stirred the hearts of the men. Behind him came Abinadab, steady and strong. His javelin was firm in his hand, his eyes straight ahead. Soldiers felt safer just seeing him. And then there was Malchishua, the youngest. Though his face was youthful, his eyes glowed with determination. His bow rested across his back. He would not shrink from the fight. Finally, King Saul himself appeared, his purple robe beneath his armor. He raised his sword high for all to see. The men shouted, their voices like thunder, as Saul and his sons led them toward Mount Gilboa. The ground trembled beneath thousands of marching feet. From the opposite hill, the Philistine army advanced, strong and fierce. The clash began. Spears struck, swords rang, arrows hissed through the air. Dust rose and the cries of battle filled the valley. For a moment, Israel stood. But the Philistines pressed harder, their shields locking, their warriors shouting. Step by step, Israel was pushed back. Fear spread like wildfire. Jonathan fought with the strength of a lion, but he fell. Abinadab stood firm as a wall, but he too was struck down. Malchishua, the youngest, brave though untested, also fell that day. Saul's 3 sons lay on the battlefield. The hope of Saul's house was gone. King Saul himself was wounded. His body was weak, but his spirit still burned. Leaning on his sword, he looked across the field where his sons had fallen. My sons, my people. Sorrow filled his eyes. The Philistines closed in. Saul asked his armor-bearer to kill him, but he refused. With one last act of dignity, Saul fell upon his sword. Israel's first king had died on Mount Gilboa. The armor-bearer, seeing Saul, killed himself as well, ended his life. The next morning, the Philistines walked among the fallen. They found Saul and his sons and laughed cruelly. They thought they had shamed Israel forever. But Israel was not without honor. That night, brave men from Jabesh Gilead marched through the darkness, torches in hand. Quietly, carefully, they carried the bodies of Saul and his sons away. Beneath a tree at Jabesh, with dignity and tears, they gave them a proper burial. Far to the south, a runner came to David with torn clothes and dust upon his head. His voice was heavy. Saul and Jonathan are gone. David tore his garments. His men bowed their heads. How the mighty have fallen, David cried. Jonathan, my brother, I loved you. And David wept, not only for Jonathan, but for Saul as well. He remembered Saul as the one God had first chosen to lead Israel. Time passed. In Hebron, the men of Judah anointed David as their king. But the kingdom was not whole. Saul's commander, Abner, placed Saul's son Ishbosheth on the throne of the other tribes. Israel was divided. For years, there was war, David's army led by Joab, Ishbosheth's army led by Abner.
David's house grew stronger. Saul's house grew weaker. One day, Abner quarreled with Ishbosheth and left him. He came to David. "I will bring all Israel to you," he promised. David welcomed him and gave him a seat at his table. But Joab was filled with anger. Abner had killed Joab's brother in battle. Joab could not forgive. In secret, Joab struck Abner down. When David heard, his heart broke. He wept and walked with the people holding Abner's coffin, showing the people that he desired peace, not bloodshed. Not long after, 2 men crept into Ishbosheth's house while he slept. They killed him and rushed to David, thinking they would be rewarded. But David was grieved again. "You killed an innocent man," he said. He punished them. David would not take the throne by evil. At last, the elders of Israel came to David. "We are your own family," they said. "The Lord said you would shepherd his people." So they poured oil upon David's head. He was 30 years old when he became king over all Israel. David went up to Jerusalem and made it his city. From shepherd boy to warrior to king, God's promise had come true. Eli whispered, "So David didn't fight for the crown. He waited for God's time, even through sorrow." Miriam smiled. Yes, he honored Saul. He mourned for Jonathan. He punished wrong. And at last, all Israel asked him to be their king. The children gazed at the word carved in stone. Gilboa was a place of loss, but also the place where God's promise moved forward. Children, this story gives us 5 powerful lessons we can carry in our hearts. 1. Courage matters. Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua stood strong, even when the battle was hard. 2. Choices have consequences. Saul's disobedience cost him his kingdom. 3. Honor others. David wept for Saul, showing respect instead of hatred. 4. Wait for God's timing. David did not grab the throne. He trusted God to give it to him. 5. God's promises never fail. From shepherd boy to king, David's life showed that God's plan always comes true. And so, from sorrow to singing, from battles to peace, God's promise stood. The shepherd boy became Israel's true king.